Alright, here's the third page of the worksheet. We're going to graph this one the same as we did the previous one. So firstly, y equals, so we're going to need to use, as it says, completing the square to do this, x squared minus 4x. Now to use completing the square, if you remember, we divide that 4 by 2 and then we square it, and that's what our number is, so 4 to create the square. If we add 4, we also have to subtract 4 to get our equation. So now we've got x squared, x, now this part, to make it to squared, we minus 2 squared. So x minus 2 squared equals this. We've done this before. Minus 4 plus 7 is plus 3. Because this is plus, we know that it is above, there's no x-intercept. It is above the x-axis. From this equation, we can look at it and go, well, what is our x? Our x must be 2 and our y must be plus 3. So this is our turning point. Plus 2 and plus 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's our turning point. 2, 3. Now if we're going to find, because we're asked to label the turning point, and all intercepts, so we know that there's no x-intercept because that's a plus. So to find the y-intercept, we make x equal to 0. So if we put 0 into this equation, y equals 0 minus 2 squared plus 3. So we've got minus 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. So this gives us the point of our y-intercept of 0, 7. So if that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, it's a bit off my graph, but that's my graph like that. It's a parabola, so make it look a bit like a parabola. Okay, so that's that graph. Now we're moving into different shape graphs again. We know that these are these shape graphs. Y equals 3x. So we know that for this graph, when x is 0, y is 1, because anything to the power of 0 is 1. So if we mark the point 1 here, and it's going to pass through there, we know that if we now make the point x is 1, then this is going to be 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, and that's our next point. Well, actually, if we make that 1, so that's the point 1, 3. And we also know that if we go to the point 1, minus 1 here, we're going to be down here at a third. So this is going to be the point minus 1, a third. So our graph is like that, and you know that it never touches the x. So this is the graph y equals 3 to the power of x. The next graph, if it's a minus, we know that a negative inverts our graph. So this graph, where it's minus 3, it's going to pass through. So if x is 0, that's on the y-axis, that's going to be 1, minus 1. So it's going to pass through this point here of minus 1. If we make this 1, it's going to be minus 3, 2, 3. So it's going to pass through 1, 3, 1 minus 3, sorry. And we're going down here to 1 minus a third. So this graph is going to look like this. And our last graph, this one here, so this is graph C. Our last graph, this one here, is the same as this one but with a negative x. So we should know that that will give us the reverse of the blue graph here. If this is 0, so here it's going to pass through the same point and everything's going to be reversed. Instead of 1, 3, I'm going to have minus 1, 3. Instead of minus 1, a third, I'm going to have plus 1, a third. So my graph here will run in the other direction and never touch that x-axis. So that's graph C, that's graph B, and that's graph A. And our last graph, I drew through it, but that we know is a circle, and this tells us that our diameter of our circle is the square root of 4, which is 2. So if I graph this, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, my graph of this will be a circle passing through 2, 2, minus 2, minus 2. So that's a good graph, except it's not drawn great, of a circle. If I was to sketch this one, y equals 2x. This is a straight line because there's no powers here. So 2x, for every 1x we have 2 y's. So my point 0, 0, if x is 0, y is 0, so it goes through there. If x is 1, 2 times 1 is 2, y is 2, so actually I'll draw this one in blue. So that's going to pass through this point here. And let's go the other way. If x is minus 1, then y is going to be minus 2, so I'm going to have minus 1, minus 2. And using a ruler, draw this through here. At this point, I'm not going to worry about teaching you how to work out what these intercepts are here. It's not in the test. Good luck with your test on Tuesday.